right, we've got some news involving the New Orleans Saints. I think Saints fans will really be excited about, obviously. Well, I say obviously, for those of you who aren't aware, the Saints have fired longtime offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael. I think it was the right move to make. The offense was certainly getting a little stagnant. They needed to change things up. And I think their number one target, according to reports, is the perfect man for the job. Let's go into the report. This is from SB Nation, and then we will talk about it on the other side. All right, from the report and the New Orleans Saints to the growing list of teams that want to be like the Los Angeles Rams, as they have requested an interview with Sean McVay assistant Zach Robinson to become their next offensive coordinator. Longtime coordinator Pete Carmichael Jr. was fired after 15 seasons on the job. So Robinson is in line to be the next person calling the offensive shots in New Orleans. This would be Robinson's first offensive coordinator position. Robinson was a quarterback at Oklahoma State and a seventh-round pick of the Patriots in 2010. Robinson bounced around the league a little bit until 2013, and then his start as a coach with the Rams in 2019. Robinson had been an assistant quarterbacks coach and receivers coach until being promoted to passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2022. All right, so let's put some historical context on the Pete Carmichael situation. For those of you who don't remember, obviously it was a number of years ago now, Pete Carmichael originally was promoted to offensive coordinator prior to the 2009 season because then Saints head coach Sean Payton felt he was too focused in the nitty-gritty of running the day-to-day offense in terms of meetings, practice structure, things like that. He was still running the offense, but he wanted to delegate a lot of the nitty-gritty activities. And as the head man, Sean Payton wanted to focus on the big picture as well. So Pete Carmichael was essentially his delegate to handle that. When Dennis Allen took over the team as the head coach after Payton left, he then delegated Carmichael, instead of having those smaller responsibilities, the entire offense. It is clear to any observer that Carmichael is not the guy to handle the entire offense. He's really stuck in old school concepts. It feels like it's 2008 watching the way the Saints play offensive football. I think Sean Payton running the high level play calling and situation really made the Saints look good. Drew Brees obviously played a big role into that as well, but it was clear Carmichael was not going to get the job done. I love the Saints going younger in Robinson, and I love the Saints going from the Sean McVay tree. Anyone from the McVay tree or the Kyle Shanahan tree is fantastic because those guys make life so easy for the quarterbacks. We saw what Bobby Slowick from that same tree has done for CJ Stroud in Houston, what LaFleur has done for Jordan Love, and of course, we all know what McVay has done. We all know what Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, the list is long of a lot of guys from this coaching tree having phenomenal success with quarterbacks. That's what the Saints need to get back to the playoffs. They need Derek Carr to step up. And one way you can do that is having an offensive coordinator that makes life easy. And I think Robinson is the perfect hire to do just that. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this move by the New Orleans Saints. But first, Saints fans, in the comment section below, give us who you think you would like the Saints' next offensive coordinator to be. Is it Robinson? Is there another guy on the list that you'd be more interested in? Let us know who you want the Saints to hire for their next OC and put them in the comment section below. And if you appreciate this content and want to support us, please consider becoming a member of our channel. You can find a link in the description box below to detail how to become a member. We really appreciate it if you would consider it. But Miles, let me throw it over to you now. What do you think of this potential move by the New Orleans Saints? It seems like they've found, if all things work out, their next offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I think this is a really great move because, as you alluded to, there's a lot of very strong candidates as from the McVay camp that have gone on to be very successful, at least on the offensive side of the ball. We all look at Matt LaFleur doing a great job right now. That team in the playoffs really lighting people up. We have Zach Taylor from the Bengals doing a great job there. Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings, they're not necessarily world beaters, but that offense always puts up a lot of stats. I just look at the offensive side of things. These are all guys who really can get things done. We know Shane Waldron from the Seahawks. The Geno Smith had a very good couple of years under him as well. So I think it was a great idea to kind of start looking at guys to supplant Pete Carmichael. Carmichael, he had some good years with Sean Payton. Was it Sean Payton? Was it Carmichael? Who really knows exactly how that offense was run? I tend to believe Payton had a lot to do with it as well. But this is now a move to really get the Saints moving in the right direction. I think they've been stagnant for a while. I think they've made a lot of moves that just really pay off. Derek Carr really hasn't, catapulted the team forward very much. And arguably a very weak NFC South division, they should be a lot better than they were. We see the last game of the season, they're able to put up a bunch of points, but it's all when it didn't matter anymore. So I want to see the Saints really start getting innovative on the offense side of the ball, and who better to do that than get a Sean McVay, acolyte Sean McVay apprentice to come in and really turn this offense around. So I think Zach Robinson is a very good option for the Saints to start to go after, because I think this offense has a ton of weapons, has a lot of really great players. Chris Olave is incredible. Alvin Kamara, we all know he's a very good player. This is an offense that has a lot of good things going for it. So I think they just need the right guy making the right play calls to really start to make things click.
I know watching the Saints offense this past season, I think everything didn't feel like it was hard, right? Every completion, every first down, every scoring drive, it was hard to move the football. It just wasn't easy. It was Derek Carr had to sit in the pocket and deliver a ball down the field into tight coverage, or Alvin Kamara had to do something special when he was healthy, or Olave had to pull something magical, or Rashid Taheed made a big play down the field, just outrunning everybody, right? It seemed like the Saints executing their offense, it was just harder than it really should have been. If you look at what the McVay teams do, the McVay offensive teams, whether it's the Rams or his disciples of what they've done beyond that, or again from the same tree, the Kyle Shanahan trees of those kind of offenses, you watch them play, and it looks easy. They're throwing the wide open guys. Quarterbacks seem to have an easy read, a lot of yards after a catch, right? It seems very easy to play offense just because they're structured intelligently. They're modern NFL offenses designed to make the quarterback's life easy and comfortable and give it easy reads for the quarterback. And it's not just regular season success. We've seen what these coaches have done in the postseason as well. And they've done it with a bunch of different quarterbacks, whether it's big arm guys like Stafford, whether it's guys who don't have the arm strength like Tua and Jared Goff, or whether it's Mr. Irrelevant like Brock Purdy in San Francisco. It doesn't seem to matter the quarterback skill set. That offense from that tree seems to work phenomenally. And I think the Saints going forward with Derek Carr, it's going to be 100% about how easy can they make it for Carr to execute and sustain drives and score points. Last season, I think it was way too challenging. Again, I think a lot of Sean Payton and Carmichael, what we've seen now was basically Drew Brees. He's a Hall of Fame first ballot guy. I think he basically covered up a lot of warts between those two coaches. Obviously, Derek Carr is nowhere even remotely close to Drew Brees. Let's bring in an offensive coordinator that can make life a lot easier for him. That's what it looks like the Saints are going to do, and I think it's the perfect move for him.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to bring up, because if you go through the Saints' schedule win-loss this year, you look at some of these losses. Green Bay, 18-17, 1 point loss right there. A little bit better offensive play calling, you probably win that game. Go down the list to the Texans, 13-20, one-score game to get you in tie ball game. You know, you look at the Jaguars, 31-24, very tight games. All down the list, you see a ton of losses for the Saints team. The Lions, 28-33, very close game. Just, it feels like they were in every single game, but just couldn't really get it done. Very rarely did they score over 20 points on offense. It was just a team that didn't really have offensive stuff clicking. So I think going after a guy like Robinson, getting this offense to start clicking, that's really what the Saints need, because great defense, they had a lot of great performances this year, but they just couldn't get the offensive firepower to get them in game.
In my one final point, I think you brought up something great when you look at their past results. Those four teams, four winning teams, three playoff teams, right? And the Saints were there and had a chance to win all four of those games, right? Think about that for a second. The Saints are seen as like kind of down in the dumps right now, but with a little bit better play calling, a little bit of offensive structure, they win what, two of those games, maybe three of them. Suddenly we're looking at maybe one of the best teams in the NFC. The Saints are a lot closer than people think. They do have some salary cap issues to clean up, but if they can pull off this hire, I think they will very quickly move up the ranks in the NFC.